about this place, and he'll give you a little presentation, show you around the archives, and then you can ask questions afterwards.
I'm the one, if you ask Dave, that's me. Well, welcome to the archives. We set up our department here back in 1970, so we've been doing this for 39 years now. In fact, we just had our anniversary last Monday. So next year, we 40. Why did this company start an archive? I think it's pretty obvious. Can you think of another company in the world that reuses its past as much as Disney does? We're constantly looking back into things that we did years and years ago and using them for projects that we're working on today. A good example is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Here's a film we made way back in 1937. But it's still important to the company today. We can do books based on it. We can do CDs. We can do educational materials. We can do computer software. We can run it on the Disney Channel. We can do a new show at Disneyland based on it. All these different ways that we can use something that we did years and years ago. And when you're using material that's that old, you need a well-indexed collection of that material so you can find it when you need it. And that's the main reason why the archives was set up. Now, we collect here the history of the whole company. So if you're looking for the history of Disneyland, it's not in Anaheim, it's here. The history of Walt Disney World is not in Orlando, it's here. So corporate headquarters, history of the whole company. What I'm going to do this morning is to describe what's around in some of the cases. I know it's a big group, so we won't all walk around right now, but we'll give you some time at the end to look at the items up more closely and take your photos if you wish. And I did bring out a few special things to share with you this morning while you're here. You no doubt noticed the wardrobe as you came in. That's the original prop from the Chronicles of Narnia. It doesn't work. You know, it was so big, it was so hard getting it in the door here. One of my friends said, oh, you should leave it in the door and have people walk through it to get inside. There's no furs inside. It was made in New Zealand where the film was shot, and the carvings on the wardrobe are actually elements of the plot of the film. The first exhibit case over against the wall has an exhibit of Donald Duck food products, which is something that you're not familiar with today. But back in the early 1950s, we had quite a program of licensing the use of Donald Duck, and that was the only character we used for this, to food companies around the country. They put Donald on their label, and essentially it would become a Donald Duck product. So as you can see over there, you could get Donald Duck bread and Donald Duck popcorn and Donald Duck frozen flounder fillets and all sorts of things. This program conflicted with some other things that we were doing here at in the company, so it didn't last very long. One of the items is still around. What is it? Orange juice. Orange juice, yeah. Donald Duck orange juice is still being made down in Florida. But that's the only item from this early 50s promotion that is still being made today. The next case there has a display of early collectibles. This is early Disney character merchandise. We were one of the first of the animated cartoon companies to have a program of licensing the use of our characters to manufacturers of toys and games and clothing and so forth all around the world. This has really been mutually beneficial for us and for the companies that are making these products. We didn't make any of these products ourselves, by the way. We licensed our characters, and you've got a manufacturer here making a product. He's able to put a very popular cartoon character on his product that helps him sell more product. Well, of course, by selling more product, he's paying a higher fee to Disney. So he gets more money, we get more money. So it worked out real well. Mickey Mouse, of course, was our first merchandise character. The first merchandise item came out in 1930, and here it is. It's a writing tablet. And according to the story, Walt was walking through a hotel lobby in New York City, and a man came up to him and offered him $300 if Walt would let him put Mickey on these children's writing tablets that he was making. And Walt needed the $300, so he said, okay. So that started Disney merchandising. What character came next after Mickey Mouse? I haven't heard it yet.
Oswald the Lucky Rabbit?
No. See, I'm going to surprise all you guys. It all came out of one cartoon.
The Three Little Pigs?
The Three Little Pigs. Three Little Pigs, which came out in 1933, led to tons of merchandise. It was an extremely popular cartoon. Coming out in the depths of the Depression, it had Americans all singing this, "Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf?" because they were trying to keep the Big Bad Wolf away from their own doors. And it sort of became an anthem for America during the Depression. And there never was another single cartoon that led to as much merchandising as Three Little Pigs. What came next? Donald Duck. And if you look on the top shelf of the case there in the back, there's some early Donald merchandise. The early Donald merchandise all has this long bill and a real skinny neck. And you can always identify it that way. That only lasted for about a year. And then Donald was changed to look the way pretty much he looks today. So if you find what they call the long-billed Donald merchandise, you've got an early piece that was probably made in 1934-35. I won't ask you any more quizzes. The next big campaign to come along, of course, was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Now, Snow White was really a milestone when it came to movie merchandising, because this was the very first time that a complete merchandising campaign was in place the day the movie came out. So if you went to see the premiere of the movie at the Carthay Circle Theater, you could come out of the theater, go down to your local Penny's or Woolworths or whatever, and buy Snow White merchandise. Never been done before. I mean, it's hard for us to imagine that today with Harry Potter and Star Wars and all that sort of thing that have all these merchandising campaigns. But it was new at that time. And of course, you know, it was easier for us to do that because it takes 3 to 4 years to make an animated film. So you had time to get in there and convince the licensees that, hey, we're doing a great thing here and you're going to sell a lot of Snow White product if you get on board with us. So that was a milestone there. The next case has a display of Sleeping Beauty because we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of Sleeping Beauty this year. Sleeping Beauty had a totally different style to it than any of the previous Disney animated features, primarily due to Ivan Earl, who was the designer for that film. The next case has a display of movie props from some of the Disney films, and I think you'll recognize a few of those pieces. There's the sword from Enchanted, which I guess is the most recent item there. There's Julie Andrews' driver's license from Princess Diaries. There's the medallion from Pirates of the Caribbean. There's the ring that turned the boy into the Shaggy Dog. There's the snow globe from Mary Poppins. There's the magic bed knob from Bedknobs and Broomsticks. And a couple of ray guns from the Black Hole. The next case has a display related to Walt Disney himself, including, up on the top shelf, some materials about his backyard railroad, which he called the Carolwood Pacific, named after the street on which he lived. And what brought that street to the news this week? That's where Michael Jackson was living, about 2 blocks from where Walt's house used to be. It was this miniature train that really got Walt Disney thinking about Disneyland, because he wanted a place where parents and children could go together and they could all have fun. Well, this was happening in his backyard. He was having fun with his daughters and they were having fun with their dad. So when he built Disneyland, he made sure it had a train, and once he had a bigger train to play with, he figured he didn't need his little one anymore, so it was taken out at that time. But at least it did get him started thinking about Disneyland.